At this time, I'd like to call the March
First,
sorry, I retract that. The city of Plattsburgh is holding a public hearing to hear public comment on the proposed city of Plattsburgh final draft local waterfront revitalization program, waterfront consistency review law, and harbor management law that were prepared and circulated by the Department of State to potentially affect state and local agencies in accordance with the requirements of Executive Law Article 42. I'll now entertain a motion to open the public hearing. Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Talon. Public hearing is not open. Any persons intending to make public comment, to make comments at this public hearing, please step to the podium with your name and address, please, and make your public comment.
Is this just for a specific item?
This is just for this local law right now. If you're here to comment on the other bits, that will arise. Seeing none, I'll now take a motion to close the public hearing. Motion by Councilor Avery, second by Councilor Talon. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Public hearing is now closed. Now I'd like to call the March 21st, 2024 regular meeting of the Common Council City of Plattsburgh to order. It's 5:33 p.m. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Carlin, will you please conduct a roll call?
Mayor Rosenquist.
Here.
Councilor Vaughn. Councilor Avery.
Here.
Councilor Gibbs.
Here.
Councilor Talon. Councilor Manette.
Here.
Councilor Moore.
Here.
Please note for the record, Councilor Vaughn has communicated that she's not going to be here. All councilors have received a copy of the minutes of the March 7th, 2024 regular meeting. If there are no additions, deletions, or corrections, I'll now entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Motion by Councilor Talon, second by Councilor Gibbs. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'd now like to recognize those in the audience who wish to share their thoughts and concerns with the council on any topic. Please come to the podium to be acknowledged when called upon. We do ask that you please state your legal name and address for the record. In accordance with the organizational rules of order, all speakers will be given 5 minutes to address the council.
Yes. My name is Jack Billow of 8 Grace Avenue, Plattsburgh. And I'm here partly in the response to the city adopts STR, vacant property fees, and other things. First of all, I'd like to say in response, this part of it's in response to this article. And part of it's in response to the increase in taxes that I and other people have to pay. In the last 24 months, my taxes on my home went up $1,437.98. That includes the school tax. The city of Plattsburgh claims they're under the 2% tax limit, and they are. What they don't tell you is the assessments have been jacked up, which causes the taxes to rise. Assessors tell you to see the politicians, and when you do, they in turn pass the buck and say that your taxes won't be going up because of equalization. And they're not fooling anyone, because apparently mine had went up that much when I first received my tax assessment. We're now taxed 3 times the amount of people in Florida for similar properties. But that's not enough. Fees have been assessed, apartment registration fees, empty apartment fees, abandoned property fees. These are all taxes. They can cover it any way that they want. They're all additional taxes and on top of what we're paying. And then I read the newspaper and says inspiration from other municipalities is given for these new fees. You look across all these cities, they're all have difficult problems, and they're all hemorrhaging. I don't think Plattsburgh wants to be like any other city. We have a very good city here. However, the taxes are relatively high, even with the STAR. One of the examples you look at is the police substation here across from Hobie's on Main Street. I've been there, by there hundreds of times. Nobody's in there. Even if they are in there, exactly what are they doing? We're 1/3 of a mile away from the police station. If you want to go down and visit the police, I'm sure they have no problem in visiting. Right now, I'm under the understanding that the city's paying $36,000 a year to rent that place. If that's not true, even $20,000 is too much. Every $30,000 or $40,000 goes to taxes counts a lot in this city. And when the place is closed up most of the time, or there's a police officer in there and there's nobody in there, it's just what I'm considering a boondoggle. We're only a third of the mile down the street from the city police. There's no need for that. Is there other things that have to be checked into? I don't know. But most people that I've talked to consider it a kind of a boondoggle. We have another thing here. Of course, this is with the registration fees. So I've had an apartment house for a number of years in the city of Plattsburgh, and I had to sell it. And part of the reason is because of the taxes. I tried to keep the fees down. I tried to do most of the work myself, and the repairs. I sold it 2 years ago. I had 5 apartments, and so they seem to come up with all sorts of fees and everything else for these apartments, and it seems like they're all just talking about greedy landlords and that type of thing. And I can explain a few things to you. Taxes are higher, so the rent has to go up. When the assessments go higher, the insurance coverage goes higher because they make you pay a certain amount. You have to insure it for certain rates. You've got labor, you've got repairs, you've got lawyer fees, you've got people that aren't paying. You've got, I don't own anything right now, but I'm talking on behalf of this. So what happens here? You get done, and normally, if I had a good year, I would make $12,000 or $13,000 clear. Well, wait just a minute, we're not done yet. If you're on a fixed income and you got Social Security and retirement, and you're living with your wife, and you make $50,000 a year, anything over $50,000 a year, it's taxed at a rate of 24% federal. And the state comes in and gets 8% more. So if you make $12,000 or $13,000, a third of that's gone. People don't figure that out. And by the way, you do have to pay for the house. So when you're making these decisions about taxing this and charging this fee and that fee, it's all passed on to the tenants. You have to be very careful when you're doing this, that this is not going to put us into positions where houses are abandoned. And we're talking about abandoned houses here. I've talked to several people here about this $500,000, $1,500 because people aren't. Why would the city be involved as long as the house looks presentable, as long as there's not trash around it? Why are they charging all these fees? I'm not against the fee for the Airbnb and stuff, that's fine. But we're talking about fees for people who don't want to sell their house. Is the city forcing, and does this sound correct? The city is forcing people to sell the property because of the fines that go on and they're already paying high taxes? I don't know, I think you ought to look into this again, and I don't think it's very wise. And so these are basically my complaints. I think that they should eliminate the downtown. I like the police, they do a great job here in the city, and it's nothing against the police, but that station down there, it's costing us, if it's costing $36,000 like I'm told, but even if it's costing $20,000, that shouldn't be eliminated. There's certain things in the city, and we can't have everything. But I mean, the taxes, even, we have the star tax, and even with the star tax, we're still paying 3 times as much in this city as they are in Florida. I know I've checked with my friends, I've been to Florida several times, and so I'm just saying, look at the budget. We have to have people in here that are fiscally responsible, and everything that comes down the pike that we vote on as the common council or the vote to the people, it's going to cost people taxpayers money. That's what it says here. And that's all I have to say, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time. Thank you. I would hope that there would be at some particular time out of this, that the one thing that I've talked about is about that substation, which we don't need, but and the expense that goes with it. If there's other things in there that can be cut, that would be one of the things. But I know right now, they may be keeping under the 2% tax, but our assessments are getting jacked up, and there's no equalization, or apparently there hasn't been. So we'll go from there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to address the council on any topic?
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Name's Dan Lyon. I live at 37 Club Road. I won't take all of my 5 minutes here, but I just wanted to encourage you all to implement the proposed local law that I sent to all the councilors, mayor, and court council. They would implement an animal abuse registry in the city of Plattsburgh, similar to local laws that exist in other counties and municipalities across the state and across the nation. It's important to me, and I think to the rest of the community, to not only protect animals, but also to protect humans too. There's a lot of studies and research that show that animal abuse is often an early sign of potential human abuse. It also is especially true in the cases of domestic violence, elder abuse, child abuse. And these registries, they help track and combat people who engage in things like dogfighting, animal hoarding. In fact, animal hoarding is one of those crimes where the recidivism rate is near 100%. So it's good for fighting those types of things and keeping track of, individuals that have previously been convicted of crimes similar to that. It also prevents against puppy mills. There's been research to show that as well. So I propose this local law. You don't have to implement it exactly verbatim, but it's just, I know you guys are all busy, so I thought I would take the initiative, I suppose, to propose something that's kind of like a boilerplate version of what other municipalities have implemented. Common sense law with little roadblocks. It doesn't cost a lot of money to the city to implement such a system. And I just strongly encourage you all to adopt something like that. I'm open to any questions that you may have about it. If you don't, otherwise, I just thank you for your time and consideration in reviewing that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else would like to address the council on any topic? Seeing none, please note that 3.1, the common council held a special meeting on Monday, March 4th, 2024 at 5 p.m. And I will also note that the council approved the various payrolls for the various city departments for the week ending March 20th, 2024 in the amount of $580,982.08. And the council also audited, the bill is also audited by the common council for the weeks ending March 15, 2024 in the amount of $959,097.90 and March 22nd, 2024 in the amount of $1,736,490.85. Submitted for the record, items 6.1 through 6.4, various reports for city departments, and we'll now move on to liaison reports, Plattsburgh Public Library Council. They did. Okay. Climate Smart Task Force, Councilors Talon and/or Avery.
Okay, so we're continuing to work on the Earth Day event, which is in conjunction with the Green Up event, which is going to be April 20th, Saturday. Hopefully it'll be a beautiful day. We're going to be working together with having a story time there for kids, if Mr. Ben's still available. So hopefully he is. And some music. We're gonna have an open mic there, and we're just gonna have good time educating people about what you can do to make this a more climate-friendly city.
I'll just comment on there was no meeting in March, but we did submit for review to council the draft plan. We'll be looking at that in the coming, I'm not sure the date, but in the coming future. Please look at it, send your message out. I appreciate the planning office for helping out, but also the task force. We spent a lot of time talking through that plan in detail. Many long conversations, and I know it was very aggressive from the first draft, so I'm happy that the document was put forward, but again, please council review. Thank you.
To speak to that plan, we also noted for department heads to also review the climate action plan to note any potential conflicts, serious considerations for implementation. Again, it's an action plan that should be able to be implemented first and foremost in a reasonable time frame, as well as something that we come back to on a regular basis to check on progress of implementation. So that's currently in the process, and March 25th is when we expect to hear back from department heads on any of their comments. Subsequent or following that process, we'll make any additional changes. Work hand in hand with the task force to ensure that those changes of those alterations still match the goals and objectives of the task force, and then we'll look to forward common council for approval. Ms. Garland, will you please read the titles of the resolutions to be acted on tonight?
Item 7.66 was withdrawn. Item 7.67, authorized travel requests, police department.
Motion. Councilor Avery, second by Councilor Gibbs. Discussion. All in favor, or sorry, roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.68, authorized CDM Smith Footbridge Load Capacity Engineering Services.
Motion by Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Moore. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.69, authorized travel requests, fire department.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Manette. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.70, approval of license agreement for Plattsburgh Farmers and Crafters Market.
Motion by Councilor Talon, second. Councilor Manette. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Moore, Manette?
What's that? Right over you. See, doesn't take that long with that.
yes,
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.71, authorized contract for lighting sound production at solar eclipse event.
Motion. Councilor Talon, second. Councilor Gibbs. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon? Yes. Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried.
Item 7.72, authorized contract for Porta Johns rental for solar eclipse event.
Motion. Councilor Gibbs, second. Councilor Avery. Discussion. Roll call.
Counselor Avery?
Yes.
Counselor Gibbs?
Yes.
Counselor Talon?
Yes.
Counselor Manette?
Yes.
Counselor Moore?
yes,
Carried. There's no need for an executive session tonight. Is there any new business to come before the council?
I do have a question about the little memo that you sent us regarding your advisory committee.
Correct.
You mentioned here that you would like the advisory committee to provide council with updates.
Yes.
How is this going to be done? Is this advisory committee going to make a presentation to council during the meeting, or are you envisioning a special meeting where how will this be done?
Yeah, I think the recommendation would be a special meeting that could be recorded, live stream recorded. We've spent some initial time, and again, it was a joint memo between Councilor Avery and my office, reviewed by the members of the advisory group as well. I think right now we've done some preliminary work to understand what the initial work of the original Charter Commission has done in terms of the recommendation for city manager. There's some gaps and some concerns that we needed to address, that we internally were asking. We brought in some folks from the International City and County Managers Association to answer some of those questions. We spent about an hour and a half with those folks to answer some of those questions and concerns that we had. After that, we will likely come back and start to also address those internal questions we have, but sooner than later, we would like to have a special meeting with council to have essentially just a dialogue about what we found, the gaps that we feel need to be addressed, as well as any questions or comments that members of the council also had regarding the potential change.
So this needs to be, excuse me, it needs to be submitted to the Board of Election in order for it to go on the ballot as a ballot referendum by August.
I'd have to double check the timeline, but it would have to be pretty much closer to the beginning of the summer, or midsummer.
So August. Okay. So if, I mean, for all intents and purposes, we might as well call it April, because we don't have another meeting this month.
When the recommendation for us to all get together.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering what kind of time frame, you know, if we're looking at this, and, you know, the way I always teach a lesson plan, you start with the end of the month. So if we're saying, our understanding is that in August, a referendum has to be created to go on the ballot, that's got to be submitted to the Board of Election.
Yeah.
And there seems to me, there's got to be a lot of work, communication, public outreach, public information that happens.
Oh, yes,
So
of course.
that's why I'm wondering, what kind of time frame are we looking at where the advisory committee is presenting to the council? Because I have a loose understanding of what this potential role could be.
Yeah.
And according to your email, we could go through a whole commission process, or it could just be local law. Either way,
Yes.
the public will have to vote on it, and so the information presented to the council and available to the public, I'm having a hard time understanding what kind of time frame are we looking at? I guess that's what I'm trying to nail down.
Yeah, we'd like to present to council sooner than later. Obviously, this will be the first kind of public out, if you want to call it public outreach, it'll be the first public outreach of the advisory group. We have not gone to talk to any other local stakeholders. We would want to talk to council first, of course. But again, a lot of those preemptive questions needed to be answered before coming to council for that. We would look at sometime in April, hopefully earlier than later. But again, we do have some loose timeline for getting this conversation out into the public to talk about what that means, as well as if it is adopted, obviously, if it is adopted for referendum, then there would have to be another additional push for outreach in community engagement and education.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other new business come for council?
Yeah, I just wanted to say a quick congratulations to the Violets Home for their ribbon cutting on Monday. Mayor and I were in attendance there, and it was a very nice event, and going to be a really nice place.
Yes, thank you. Any other new business? Seeing none, motion to adjourn. Councilor Gibbs, second by Councilor Weaver, all in favor?
Aye.
We're now adjourned.